welcome back to another BSPN Sports podcast. I'm Ashley Chandler here with Sam Jorgensen. We welcome back Coach Jesse, and today we have another special guest, Alex Malyszko.
What's up? How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. How about you guys?
Awesome.
Pretty good. How do you keep the players mentally locked in during like an unpredictable rain delay where excitement and emotions are running high?
I would say that's all the players, to be honest. They did a great job of just staying patient. Like, we're just sitting around waiting all night. Like, are we going to play? Are we not? And the kids were just as excited at the other end of the weather delay, so I give that the credit to them. I mean, maybe Alex can answer a little bit of that from a captain perspective, but I think they're just, anytime they get a chance to play football, they're fired up.
During rain delays, the locker room usually turns into a war zone. A lot of stuff just flies around, and there's a lot of yelling, so we just keep the energy rolling.
Can we hear like a certain story you guys might have at all?
So obviously the team is larger than last year, so there are new players, and sometimes we are left with water bottles, so it becomes like a water park. Everyone gets sprayed.
What are some key moments you'd like to highlight from this game?
I think the fact, again, that we had a weather delay and the kids were locked in and focused, and you point to the first drive that we had where we came out and we were explosive on offense and we had the big run from Demarion Rowe. Offensive line blocked it up perfectly. Tight end did a really good job, and Rowe just hit it a million miles an hour and scored. And I think we set the tone early that doesn't really matter what's going to happen. Like, we're going to come to play.
What was the message coming out of the rain delay that helped the team become game ready?
I would love to sit here and say that there was some awesome speech and that I can take credit for the kids being ready, but Coach Juice walked into the locker room. I'm in the office, and like how it works is you can hear anything that happens in the locker room from my office, and Juice walks in, and all of a sudden I hear a ton of screaming and yelling. I'm like, all right, the boys are ready to roll. I don't have to do anything. So I think that's all the boys being all gas, no breaks all the time.
That's good. The defense has been extraordinary these past games. We had 7 points allowed in 3 games. What has contributed to these great performances, and how do you plan on maintaining our strong defense?
Alex?
I have to give it to Coach Cap. His defense is basically the best defense I've ever played on, but it also really helps. We have really good athletes on every single position on defense, from the line all the way to the DBs.
Yeah, I would say to add to that, like, again, we're running a really good scheme on defense with Coach Cap and the defensive coaches that we have, but like the defensive front, like these guys have we average allowing -3 yards per game for rushing for the other team, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, over 3 games, the other team has totaled -10 rushing yards against us. And like, from a coaching perspective, if you win the line of scrimmage, you win the game. And when the other team can't run the ball for any positive yards at all, like, it's going to be a pretty easy game for us.
So through the 3 games, have any players stood out to you?
Yeah, a lot. Like, if you look from an offensive perspective, we lead the county in pretty much every major statistic. Like, Chase Burrell has 977 yards passing over 3 games. And if you look at like his last season at Northside, he's an incredible player, but he had, I think, like 1,500 yards on the season, and through 3 games, he's already almost gotten there, which is incredible. We have 3 of the top 10 leading receivers in the county with Keyshawn, Urel Stewart, and Brendan Wright. And then Rowe, who didn't even play a lot in our first game, is one of the top 10 rushers in the county as well. So, like, we lead every major category. Always got to shout out the offensive line. Like, none of that is possible without those guys. Those guys do the dirty work up front and don't get a lot of credit, so I like to shout those guys out. And then defensively, Colton Shaw, just a sack machine. This guy over here has been really dominant, with Forrest Loving. I mean, every level of the team, everybody's been very, very impressive.
So last week was another big win for the football team, and this week versus Indian Rocks Christian, whom we lost to last year. Is the loss from last year being used to motivate the players for this upcoming game?
Well, we all know I wasn't here, but the main idea of what we want to do every single game is win, and our whole plan is to go 10-0 and then deep into the playoffs. So it doesn't matter what game, we just want to win by 50+.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, again, like, to add to that, like, we always tell the kids every week, it doesn't matter who we play. Like, it matters about us. Like, what we can control is what we can control, and that's us. So whether it's Indian Rocks or somebody else, like, we actually, I think I owe the kids some push-ups for saying that, but we have a rule where we actually aren't allowed to say the team's name that we're playing every single week, because it just doesn't matter who we play.
I did notice that from asking players. They're like, no, so
Yeah.
I would have to go out of my way to see that.
Yeah, well, now they have evidence of me breaking that rule, so I'm going to have to do some push-ups today.
What are some takeaways from last week's game that you want the team to focus on to prepare for this week's game and following games?
I would say just continuing the standard that we have. Like, we've been improving every single week from an offense and defense perspective. I'd definitely like to tighten some things up on special teams. You saw a big jump from the TC game to the last game that we played. And just continue that trend of upward movement. I think everything's going in the right direction, but just clean up some little things. Penalties were a little bit out of control on defense last week. You always want to find the bad in the good. You know, we've had some great performances, but I don't feel like we've even come close to playing what we can play.
Okay, Alex, what is the best advice you've received from Coach Jesse, and how has it helped you with your game?
The best advice I've ever received was just play fast, because if you play slow and you mess up, it's definitely worse than playing fast and messing up, because if you play fast, it means you're trying hard. If you play slow, you're being lazy and very complacent.
So is there a balance in between that?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Alex, what is it like balancing working at Carrabba's, getting straight A's, and playing on the field?
If I'm being clearly honest, I work one time a week. Football, it does take up a lot of time, but once I get home, I go immediately to work, and then I sleep. It's pretty easy, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's good. What's the difference from your school in Tarpon to St. P. Catholic?
Well, when I was a freshman and sophomore, I went to Palm Harbor, 3,000 kids. When I went to Tarpon, around 1,500. Then coming here, 500 students with different timing, block schedules, completely new people. And when I first got here, it was a hard change, but I got used to it quite quick because of everybody here.
And as a tight end, how do you provide and help the team get a win?
Well, I'm being honest, tight ends, they don't do a lot of work, but behind the scenes, they block, they know the plays, sometimes they catch, and we're just the faster, more athletic linemen, I guess.
Yeah, and I can add to that. Like, the tight end is probably one of the hardest positions to learn in the offense, so it takes somebody with extreme intelligence. He's being humble, but, like, he has to learn a lot. Like, we put a lot on the tight ends just in terms of knowing the assignments in the run game, being involved in the pass. Like, as a tight end, you have to know so much more than almost any other position, so it takes somebody like him or like a Rise or some of these guys who've done a really good job for us to be able to learn that whole thing. And, like, we stress, like, a lot of different formations on the defense, and the tight end makes that possible.
Okay, so from what I understand, he does play both sides of the ball. Is that hard to do?
Well, I've been doing it since I was a freshman, but after 2-3 games, it just becomes easy because your whole body's used to playing the entire game, even though we do win by 40. I try to get as much time on the field as I can.
How do you prepare for such a long game playing on offense and defense?
I pay attention in the film room, make sure I practice hard, and it's not too hard, but it is a long process to get prepared for each game.
All right, well, that's it for our questions. Thank you guys so much for coming out today.
Of course, not a problem.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Alex. We will see you next time on our BSPN Sports podcast.